Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're continuing our series breaking down the pros and cons of every town in Fairfax County, and in today's video we're going to be tackling Annandale. It's one of the most interesting and diverse communities in Fairfax County. So whether you're just starting to think about moving to Northern Virginia or you've narrowed down your search to a couple of neighborhoods, I'm here to give you the inside scoop. I'm going to cover the good, the bad, and a few things that might kind of fall in between so you can decide if Annandale checks all your boxes. And if you like what you hear about Annandale, or if you're thinking about any other neighborhoods in Northern Virginia, don't forget that you can click the link down below in the description to schedule your perfect home consultation. We'll chat virtually, clarify your priorities, and help you map out a solid game plan to find your dream home. But enough of the housekeeping, let's get to the real talk. So I'm going to start with the cons, because if I don't scare you off with them, then you're going to love the pros that follow. Sounds good? All right, let's do it. To start right out the gate, we got to address the elephant in the room. The elephant that's in every room when you're talking about Fairfax County. The cost of living, because Annandale is not going to be cheap. Now, to be fair, Fairfax County as a whole is on the pricier side, so this isn't a surprise to anyone. However, Annandale might be a bit more affordable than some other areas in the region. Well, for starters, we have the housing costs, which are going to be about 47% higher than the national average. And you won't really find many savings in other areas either. But that's to be expected after all, because we do also have significantly higher incomes in this area. But when you look at the day-to-day expenses, things like groceries, dining out, and entertainment, you might find them just a hair above the national average. Not over the top, but definitely not a bargain. Services such as childcare and home maintenance can get up there in price too, especially when compared to other parts of the country. I remember when my family relocated here, my oldest was just about to start kindergarten, and it cost us more to have my youngest son in daycare than it cost for both boys in New Orleans. But the biggest expense, hands down, is going to be housing. In 2024, the average closed sales price of a single-family home in Annandale hit around $918,000, with the median price close to $840,000. And let's not forget property taxes. At a median price point, you're probably looking at somewhere between $8,000 to $9,000 a year. That's definitely something you want to consider when budgeting. Then there's the yearly property tax, which is yet another cost that can be a surprise if you're moving here from out of state. It's going to be calculated based upon your car's value. And for families with multiple vehicles, or if you have a luxury car in your driveway, those fees can stack up pretty quickly. You should budget anywhere from a few hundred to a little bit over $1,000 depending on what you drive. So if you're planning to move to Annandale, just be sure your budget can handle those extras. Now, our next con could be a bit of a pain in your day-to-day life. You guessed it, I'm talking about traffic. Local traffic makes it harder for you to access the wider DC metro area, including the area's employment hub. If you take a look at a map of Annandale, you'll see the area's major commuter routes go right through and around the area. Because it's connected to several corridors, traffic in Annandale can be a nightmare, especially during rush hour as people commute east and west to reach Virginia's employment hubs. Additionally, Annandale's low walkability pushes residents to be more car dependent. And this, as you might expect, contributes to road congestion too. And yes, public transportation is an option, but that brings us to con number 3, which is there's no on-site metro station in Annandale. I know for some people, not having a metro station could be a deal breaker, especially if you rely heavily on public transportation to get around. The good news is Fairfax County has a pretty reliable network of buses. The Fairfax Connector has many stops sprinkled throughout Annandale, making commuting by public transportation a viable option even without the metro. Plus, there are 2 metro stations nearby. You have Dunloring and the West Falls Church stations, which are going to be anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes from Annandale, depending on where you're coming from. Now, if you're hoping to walk to a metro, or if you prefer to avoid Northern Virginia's notorious traffic after already spending however many hours commuting, it's not the end of the world, but something to keep in mind if quick metro access is essential to your life. All right, so now let's talk about schools. All right, this next one's a hot topic, especially for families. Annandale is part of Fairfax County, which is home to some of the best public schools in the country. But here's the kicker. Not all local schools are ranked at the top. Depending on the site or rated methodology you're looking at, Annandale schools can come out average or even below average when you stack them up against other Fairfax County schools. Now, I'm only going to talk about the highest schools because for the most part, I find that when you look at the lower level schools within a pyramid, they often reflect the high schools at the top. Your kids could be assigned to one of 4 different high school pyramids based on your address. That's going to be Annandale, Falls Church, Justice, or Woodson. Of those 4, only Woodson has what most would consider desirable ratings. It has a 9 out of 10 on great schools, and Niche gives it an A rating. It's also ranked number 15 out of all Fairfax County high schools by US News. Fortunately, a pretty good percentage of Annandale is zoned for Woodson. If you're really interested in staying in that Woodson pyramid, you want to keep your home searched to areas west of 495 and south of Little River Turnpike to increase your chances of finding a home in that pyramid. But always, always, always verify school assignments using the Fairfax County boundary map. I cannot stress that enough. Now, about those other 3 high schools that don't have as favorable ratings. I'm only gonna talk about one of the high schools so you can kind of get the gist of it. The next one is gonna be Annandale High School, which has a 2 out of 10 rating on Great Schools. But keep in mind, that's based on factors like test scores and college readiness, and it might not reflect the whole story. If you look at another site like niche.com, it gives Annandale an overall B rating, which translates to about a 3.7 out of 5. That's definitely more encouraging, and it also signals the importance of not relying on one data source. If you watched my videos before, you know I like to remind everyone that school ratings can be skewed by everything from socioeconomic factors to the demographic makeup of the student body. But while these sites can be helpful, they are not the end-all be-all. I always encourage people to speak to real parents in the community. I love message boards like DC Urban Moms and Reddit, but it can be a hassle trying to weed out actual parent experiences from the rumor mill. And that's why I encourage you to try to connect with folks who have real firsthand experience. Many area schools have their own private Facebook groups, or you can post on sites like Nextdoor so you can get insight from parents. If possible, chat with neighbors when you're touring homes so you can try to get more nuanced insight. Schools are more than just a number, and you want to know about the teachers, the extracurricular, the community support. So do your homework on top of just reviewing those ratings. All right, enough of the negativity. Let's switch gears and talk about what people love about living in Annandale. And if you're still here and want to meet one-on-one to discuss your home buying plans, don't be shy. Click the link in the description to schedule a virtual meeting. All right, now on to our first pro on the list, how far your money goes. Earlier, I mentioned the high cost of living, but I can't talk about Annandale without pointing out that you still get more bang for your buck in Annandale in comparison to other parts of Fairfax County. Despite Annandale's close location to the Beltway, your budget still stretches further here compared to other nearby areas. The median sales price of a single family home is around $840,000. And while that isn't cheap, when you compare it to other areas inside the Beltway with averages well over $1 million, you can definitely see why I included that as a pro. And at that $800,000 price point, you're gonna find a nice selection and supply of detached homes. Another cool thing about the housing market in Annandale is that you don't need to spend a whole lot of money to get spacious lots. Most of the homes that sold in Annandale last year sat on at least a quarter-acre lot, with many other options on a third to even close to an acre. That's gonna be pretty hard to find in any other area inside the Beltway, I tell you that. On top of that, there is a lot of variety in housing options, from condos starting in the $200,000 range to large estate homes upwards of $1 million plus. So there are a lot of different housing options in Annandale. On to pro number 2, the proximity to the Beltway. If commuting is gonna be a part of your daily life, being able to reach the Beltway 495 in 5 to 10 minutes, that's gonna be a game changer for you. And if you live on the right side of Annandale, you're also gonna have easy access to 395, making trips to DC a breeze. So maybe you don't have a metro station down the block, but you do have an excellent network of roads at your fingertips, which for many is an even bigger deal. That can shave minutes and possibly even hours off your commute time each week. Northern Virginia traffic can be legendary, but wait, that's not the right word. Our traffic is notorious, so anything that helps you jump onto a major highway faster is definitely a big plus. All right, our next pro is Annandale's incredible diversity. Niche.com actually ranked it as the 3rd most diverse place in Fairfax County, and you really feel at the moment you start exploring the area. You've got people from all walks of life, a huge range of cultures and languages, and a community that genuinely embraces this diversity. Personally, I love it. And it's not just something that you read about on a website. You see it when you're in the local restaurants, the festivals, community events. It's really woven into everyday life in Annandale. Annandale also has one of the largest Korean American communities in the DC metro area. That cultural presence is strongly felt in the shops, the signage, local events, and of course the amazing food. Which brings me to my next pro, the dining scene that is gonna blow you away. You can't say you're a real foodie and not love Annandale. Annandale's dining scene is seriously impressive. The lack of commercialization in the area allows Annandale to focus on supporting local businesses. And the most popular aspect of the local economy here is gonna be the food scene. Like I said, it's the unofficial Koreatown of Northern Virginia. So if you're craving Asian food, you can't go wrong in Annandale. But if you like a nice burger, they've got you covered for that. If you're looking for authentic Korean barbecue, Annandale's famous for that as well. So from hole-in-the-wall mom and pop joints to more upscale local spots, there's a lot of variety in Annandale. You're also gonna find an array of bakeries, cafes, and international markets. So whether you're up for trying new cuisine or sticking with something familiar, Annandale has you covered. So is Annandale right for you? Let's see, we've gone over some of the biggest pros and cons, from the cost of living to the traffic, to the fantastic proximity to roads and an amazing diverse dining scene. You've got a lot of things to factor into your decision. But after hearing all this, you're interested in Annandale, then maybe that's a sign that this might be the right place for you. Or maybe it's got you thinking about other neighborhoods in Northern Virginia. Wherever you land, we're here to help you navigate the home buying process from start to finish. So don't forget to click the link in the description to schedule your perfect home consultation. We can hop on Zoom, dig into your wish list, figure out what's most important for you, and build a strategy to help you find a perfect home. So whether that ends up being in Annandale or somewhere else in Northern Virginia, we're here to help. And if you already live in or near Annandale, I would love to hear your perspective. What's your favorite thing about living here? Have you found any hidden gems? What's something you wish you could change about Annandale? Just anything you want to share, I'd love to hear it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.